Hi, everyone. It's Alexis Hasselberger here, time management and productivity coach. And I don't know about you, but I've been reading all about this hitting of the 6 month wall. And that just resonated so much with me. I feel like we're 6 months into this crisis or the series of crises this year. And it just sometimes feels like what else is going to get worse, right? Is this year going to ever come to an end? And then at the same time, it feels like, how is it Q4 already, right? How are we already here? And so I think it's just a hard time overall right now for everybody. And when I am feeling like things are bad and like it's hard to go on and like there's not a lot of hope, one of the things that I do, and that might seem a little counterintuitive, but I'm hoping it can help you, is to engage in a little planning. Planning is something that we don't do enough in general. You probably heard me talk about how do we separate the planning from the doing and why planning is important. But I actually think in these times of real crisis, when it can seem like planning is futile, actually this is a really important time to do a little bit of streamlined planning, to accept the fact that our plans aren't going to go exactly as we want them to, but really to put some structure around things. And so one of the reasons, or I'll share with you a few reasons why I think planning is really important. One is that it saves time overall. And I know that a lot of us are feeling like we just do not have enough time between, remote schooling our kids and continuing to do the work that we need to get done and, you know, trying to figure out what's going on in the world, all of this, it just feels like there isn't enough time. And so planning actually saves time. Studies show that planning saves, for every 1 minute of planning, we save about 10 minutes in execution, or that when we, plan out a project, we end up spending about 20% less actually executing that project in terms of time. So planning really saves time. Planning also reduces stress and anxiety. There are some recent studies that show that planning reduces stress and anxiety by as much as deep breathing and meditation. And so first time I heard this, I thought, what? That doesn't make sense. And then I thought about it for a second and I thought, no, this makes total sense. What are we anxious about? The future. What does planning do? It provides us with a little bit of structure around the future. And so think about planning as a form of stress relief, and that can help you maybe make the time for it. And then finally, I think that planning actually provides us with a lot of freedom. And this maybe seems counterintuitive as well, but think about it this way. When you have thought through a plan, when you've thought through the eventualities, when you have decided what's important and what maybe isn't, now you actually have a much better base to be able to compare the incoming against. So when something comes at you that feels really urgent or it's right in front of your face, now you can actually say, okay, is this thing more important than what I've set out to do? Does it deserve pivoting off my plan, or do I need to stick with my plan? And it's much easier to justify those decisions to ourselves and to other people. When we have a default plan, it allows us to veer off of that as we need to. It allows us to be flexible, but in a way that feels controlled instead of out of control. So now we know, why planning is important or why it's important to me. How do we do it right now in a way that actually makes sense? Because, doing our normal, big quarterly plan, planning out all of our goals and our work goals, for months at a time, that can seem a little futile, right? We have no idea what's going to happen next week. Things are coming at us left and right. But I think that having directional planning can be really important. And so one thing that I've been thinking about is how do we streamline this planning? And maybe it's that we just think about 3 goals that we want to have for the next quarter. Maybe we think about one goal in the realm of self. Maybe it's self-care of some type, right? That's really important right now. Maybe we have one goal around family. It doesn't have to be, your immediate family. It could be your extended family. It could be your family of choice, your friend group, whatever. Maybe you have one goal around connection, because that's something that we're losing a lot right now in this all remote world. And then one goal about work, right? So what's one thing that you really want to accomplish before the end of the year that would make you feel really good to have gotten done, to be on the other side of this and say, yes, I did that, right? We're not trying to come up with tons of lofty goals here. We're trying to put some structure and direction so that when we get up in the morning, we have kind of an overarching path that we want to go down, right? Now, should we do other types of planning? Sure. And I love planning. Something that, it really calms me down and it makes me feel really in control. But really just having this baseline of a couple of overarching goals, one of each of those areas, can let us feel like, okay, we have a purpose. We have something we're shooting for. We know that even if, we go a little bit off path, we have something to circle back to, and we have something to compare the incoming to, right? So I hope this can help you in thinking about planning for Q4. I know it's a hard thing to think about right now, but it's definitely something that I'm working on today, and so I thought I would share it with you all.